Number 6C.
Yeah.
Do we send it to you, your committee?
No, the committee.
I want to do this too.
And this is a conversation on the phone. So now, let me know it.
So we take it off.
Yeah. Because I don't want members of the committee to have.
Send it down. Send it down.
Thank you. I have a question on that. My colleague said the statement already. On AOB, we have the town voter. The issue of our IMO cannot be ignored yet. There's a formal issue before they started work of our office. The problem was community chairman and the solar light to put out. And you can include that. But the issue about our IMO. And also, hotel, maybe we'll wait for the Minister of Finance than here. So that's the current tell where the budget. The parent allowed to gain for the 2 days. If you don't
I thought that 27 first.
eh?
I thought there was a communication.
The
The 31st? That's the 10th of November, right?
president wants to gain for the 2 days.
So you're saying in 2 days?
Yeah.
So that was a letter. So that was a letter.
My business to ask this body.
What did the letter say from the president? I was not here, but he sent it to me. I thought I thought. Okay.
And last, what's the status of the sense of nature? Where is the resolution? Where is the law?
Yeah, it's here.
Thank you.
We'll be circulated today.
Besides the law, we still need to have a discussion as a Senate, even if it's not in plan already. Yeah, so we suggest, we have a little discussion on this issue. We'll see if it's, yeah, making sense, yeah. So we can make some decisions about that.
Yeah, I come by again. All right, where's
The single senators, for the sake of the record and the agenda, the motion that was made and passed for the finance minister to appear was on the issue of content in all other issues. So for the agenda to restrict the discussion, I think we should.
Content is written in the letter to the minister.
Okay.
To show cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll pass the agenda, before you can say the agenda already adopted, Thank you, Makoli.
So,
Yes, Protem, I see
Coming by,
Yeah.
a letter circulating in the print media and the electronic media of the president requesting additional days from this August by.
They don't have agenda.
Oh, okay.
They don't have agenda.
I mean, that was.
I don't want to skip to,
read the first
Yeah.
Who's the picture using? I forgot to
my bill on the, my bill, my parent bill. I think I'm doing since,
Yeah.
I think I'm doing over 3 months now.
Yeah.
So my communication on the structure of teachers in Sando and also that in on payroll. That has been also committee room for. We make all the noise and time for committee why they don't work. It has not been Minister of Finance. It's our work.
So,
That's why I make committee room since July.
yeah, we need to freeze additional letters and AOB matters until they already do the committee room.
Right.
There's no need to compound them over and over.
We don't complain every day about other people.
Yeah. Motion to adopt the revised agenda. All those in favor of making known by saying yea. Against. Motion carried. Madam Secretary.
This is on President's desk. Communication from the President of the Republic of Liberia.
Republic of Liberia, the President. November 18, 2022. Honorable Albert T. Chie, President Pro Tempore, the Liberian Senate section, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Mr. President Pro Tempore, my letter of November 1, 2022 to the Honorable Legislature, in which I informed your August body of my travel out of Liberia from November 1, 2022 to November 23, 2022, hereby refers. It has now become necessary to extend my stay abroad due to other official conditions, requiring my travel to France, Monaco, and the United States of America as follows. 1. The 5th edition of the Paris Peace Forum, which I attended in Paris, France, was extended from November 15, 2022 to November 18, 2022, thereby necessitating an adjustment in my attendance as a guest of honor of FIFA at the World Cup in Doha, Qatar, from November 18, 2022 to November 3, 2022. 2. I have been invited to attend the 13th edition of the Peace and Sports International Forum in Monaco, France, as a special guest of honor from November 3, 2022 to December 3, 2022. 3. Thereafter, I will travel to the United States of America, where I will hold meetings with various business and political leaders of that country from December 4, 2022 to December 12, 2022. 4. As you are aware, I have been invited by Mr. Joseph Arabati.
He's the Nazi president of the Senate.
So there is a little momentary sense here. The President of the Liberian Senate, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, just arrived in the Senate chamber, and she's having some chit-chat with the Senate Pro Tempore about Chie. And so after that chit-chat, she will be leaving. It appears that she did not know that the Pro Tem was presiding, and so she had to come to preside, but she's leaving.
Continuation of the President's letter. Four, as you are aware, I have been invited by Mr. Joseph Arabati, President of the United States of America, to attend the United States African Leaders Summit scheduled to be held in Washington, D.C. from December 13, 2022 to December 15, 2022. 5. I will return to Liberia on December 18, 2022. While I'm still away from the country, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Frank Musadin Jr., will continue to chair the cabinet in consultation with the Vice President and in telephone consultation with me. Sincerely, George Manuel Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia. Mr. President of the Temple.
Colleagues have listened to the reading of the communication by the President of Liberia, informing us of the necessity to extend the stay abroad. What is your will and pleasure?
Honorable Protein and fellow colleagues, having listened to the communication written by the President of the Republic of Liberia, President George Manuel Weah, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this communication be received and noted.
Already.
So, the communication from President George Weah has just been read on the floor of the Liberian Senate. So, Senator Sir Joseph has made a motion that this communication should be received and noted. But Senator Darius Dillon of Moswell as well has said he's ready to vote in this entire process. And so, there's a back talk there. We are not getting exactly what is being said by the both senators, especially the presiding and Senator Darius Dillon. But the president communication was just read, extending his travel from the 23rd to the 18th of December. Let's see whether Senator Dillon will remain on his point.
You have listened to, there are no movement seconded that the present communication be noted. Are you ready to vote? Senator Dillon.
So Abraham Darius Dillon, Senator of Moswell County, expresses already now.
I will be ready to vote if the movement will accept this amendment to the effect that in keeping with the Travel Ordinance, the total number of days spent on any particular trip shall not exceed 7 days, for which per diem and accommodation shall be funded by the government of Liberia. This is the national ordinance quoted by the Minister of Finance on Public Radio. If the movement will accept this amendment to the motion to the effect that will know who's paying for this extended trip after 7 days in keeping with the ordinance, I will be ready to vote. If that can be included in
Considering that this body work by committees, the Committee on Executive will furnish the body. I therefore reject.
What?
Oh, now you furnish and reject.
So you accept that the
No, then you can reject if you say you do it.
committee will do that, you say reject, and you the chairman of the executive committee, and a member of the committee, and every time they have committee on the executive committee, he can go to the man,
Okay.
and he's not going to go there, and he's not going to.
So you are ready. We, all those in favor of the motion, please by saying yea. Against. Motion carried. Next item.
The man said when the committee will report, we got to get time frame, so we can know who's paying for the trip after 7 days. Okay. Get more this time, so that,
Committee will report in 2 weeks.
thank you.
Business of President's Day.
Business of President's Day. An act to repeal the 2010 Act establishing a new thereof the local county university and granted the chapter for second reading. Or title. Mr. President, President.
British Police, you have listened to the reading of an act to repeal the 2010 Act establishing in use thereof of local county university and grant it of the charter. What is your will and pleasure, Senator Padikwa?
Mr. Pitali, distinguished police, I've been listening to the reading for the second time of an act to repeal the 2010 Act establishing the Lofa Community College in Bureau to establish Lofa University. Among that this communication now be received and turned over to the Committee on Education and Judiciary and report to this body in 2 weeks.
It has been moved and seconded that the act be received and sent to the Committee on Education and Public Administration to report to plenary within 2 weeks.
All those in favor of by saying yes, against.
Commend the living body of the Minister of Finance.
So now the Finance Minister, Samuel D. Tway, is about to walk in. As you know, the Liberian Senate mandated the Sergeant Arms to bring forth the living body of Minister Samuel D. Tway to answer to contempt charges. Why should not be held in contempt? And he's expected to be accompanied by his lawyers. And let's see what happens as to whether he is going to come. He's going to come along with his lawyer. He's going to walk through this door to answer to why he should not be held in contempt. This is based on several communications to the minister, and he has rejected or declined on several times to appear before the Liberian Senate, either on some basis schedules, in some cases not informing the Senate on why he cannot appear. So the Liberian Senate has issued a contempt charge against him, and he has come with his lawyers to state on why he should not be held in contempt. And so let's see what happens here. My name is Aaron Kuban. I'm bringing you this live feed. And so currently there is no agenda item ongoing unless the minister comes in. And so Senator Darius Dillon recently issued about the arrival of the senator and how long. Understand? And so we are still awaiting the arrival of Minister Samuel D. Tway. Let's see how it turns out to be with the arrival of the minister. So folks, keep sharing this live broadcast, this live coverage here from the Liberian Senate chambers. As we are with the Minister of Finance, Samuel D. Tway. There are some folks who are very much optimistic about some decision to be taken by the Senate, but there are other folks who are aware and very much concerned of some of the decisions that have been made. And in most cases, when the minister comes to come at the Liberian Senate, sometimes it's just all about a lecture, series. So we are waiting the arrival of the minister. This is Spoon TV. You can share this live. You can share as many times as you want, so that all those who may have interest in listening to what the minister will say. But one of the key reasons he has been invited or cited on contempt is the issue of the 11 million United States dollars that was placed in the budget for rice subsidy. And since the Senate invited the minister along with other ministers, Senator James Money walking in there, and so the minister is about to enter. But like I was saying, since the minister and other ministers were invited, including Agriculture and Commerce, they both have appeared, but the Minister of Finance has given several excuses surrounding why he cannot appear. Several excuses have been made by him, and so the minister is going to come. It's better to come along with his lawyers. So here now is Minister Samuel D. Tway. Minister Samuel D. Tway has walked in, folks. I see him with his entourage. It is not clear as to whether he has come along with his lawyers, but in most cases, assess hearing, you will be asked as to whether you waive your right to a lawyer and speak for yourself. And so apparently the minister might just waive his right to speak as an individual, because we see his entourage, but we cannot confirm as to whether he has come with us, his lawyers. And so here is the Minister Samuel D. Tway. Let's go to Senate Pro Tem Abuchi and Presiding Officer to announce the arrival of the Minister.
Finance and Development Planning to the chambers of the Liberian Senate. Mr. Minister, please take the lectern and be qualified.
And so the Minister of Finance has been asked to coming from the UN. I need to get down small. Yeah, okay, that is.
I shall not be to the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. Do solemnly swear that the testimony about to give, to my recollection, is the truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Please read the letter that brought the minister to us this morning, this afternoon.
On 2022, Honorable Samuel D. Tway, Jr., Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Mr. Minister, I present my compliments and my directive of the Liberian Senate in session. I advise you that concerns have been raised by members of the Senate regarding the troubling developments around the refusal of 15 county circuit court public defenders to attend courts as a result of salary payments for the upkeep as well as civil service salary payments. Let it be noted that you were cited several times to appear before the plenary on issues regarding the shortage of the national staple food rice, coupled with specific provision in the current budget in the amount of $11 million in general subsidy to importers of rice, and the status of the Roberts International Airport Road project and all other roads in the country. In view of the foregoing, this body would have me inform you that the presiding officer of the Liberian Senate has ordered Sergeant at Arms of the Senate to escort your living body before the plenary of the Senate on Thursday, February 24, at 12 noon in the Senate chamber, annex to show reasons why it should not be held in contempt of the Senate, as described under Article 44 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. Please note that their failure to appear to constitute or cross affront to this honorable body, which shall be punishable by a reasonable sanction dictated by the Senate. This is Mr. Minister, review assurances of my highest consideration and esteem. Kind regards, sincerely yours, J. Number F. Senior, PPA, MPA, Secretary of the Senate.
So folks, Minister Samuel D. Twain is already here in the chambers of the Liberian Senate to speak before the Senate. It's the Liberian Senate order is Sergeant at Arms in the living body of the minister.
Finance and Development. The plenary of the Liberian Senate alleges that you have been cited a number of times and you fail to appear and you fail to send your deputies to add in the step. So we want to know why you should not be held in contempt for not honoring our invitations.
Honorable time, distinguished members of the House of Senate, I want to say thanks for the opportunity to stand here and respond to your queries. But distinguished senators and honorable time, I do not believe I should be here under the invitation of, or under the threat of contempt, because to the best of my recollection, I have stood on this podium, I think, counting off my head, more than 5 or 6 times appearing on a broad range of national issues and engaging with senators all throughout. So I have never exhibited contemptuous disregard for this august body. I have stood here variously on a number of issues, and I can almost verbatim say some of the questions different senators have posed here in the debate that have been on this floor. So I'm quite surprised that I would get a contempt citation that I tend to disrespect. I do know that I was out of the country for about a month, handling national issues internationally, and that if there were citations to that effect, I do know that Deputy Minister of Finance engaged in representations. I would not claim that exhaustive knowledge during my absence that maybe nobody from the Minister of Finance or somebody from the Minister of Finance showed up, everything. But there was no contempt, it was disregard. It may have been an error of omission if it did happen, and I don't think giving the deference, the due deference I had accorded this august body, I was very, very astonished that I would be placed under contempt at this time. So I believe I should be purged of if the issue is that I have shown contempt to this body or contemptuous disregard, then I believe that the threat be purged, or I be purged of that, because I do believe that I should respect.
So, you have the Minister of Finance there, stating why he should not be held in contempt. According to him, he has made several appearances at the Liberian Senate, and he has never shown any contemptuous posture before the Liberian Senate, and he has always been waiting to appear before this august body, and that he believes that with such a posture demonstrated by him or responding to invitations from this body, he should not be held in contempt. But what is strange is the fact that the minister has not been asked as to whether he has his lawyer or not, or whether he wants to speak without a lawyer. This is quite strange, and in most cases when you are brought an issue is why you should not be held in contempt, you are asked about whether you want to speak to your lawyers or you want to speak by yourself. Mr. Minister Samuel Dito has just given reason why he should not be held in contempt. There was an order from the floor from Senator Komine Wise of River G County. And let's hear his order on this discussion.
I'm calling the witness to first for his opening words that I appear to be very hostile, starting up as a hostile witness by charging that the Senate have no basis to charge him with contempt.
I didn't hear that, Senator. When did he say it?
That's what he said.
The presiding didn't hear that. That's the presiding information.
The second point I like to make is I want to be clear that this witness has a lawyer as required by law. That when he comes for under contempt charge, he should come with his lawyer.
Which code the law for me? Wow. Information.
In our rules and the process in the Constitution.
There's no rule, there's none for such in our rules, Senator.
So if I cannot make immediate reference to it, but it's in his own best interest that he appear under contempt charge to come with a lawyer.
So our law says that the witness has the prerogative To be loyal, not to be loyal.
Yes, so you can say so, that he had decided to represent himself.
Senator is clear. It doesn't have a lawyer, that's what it means.
No,
But he should be advised.
Well, he knows.
He should wear his right. He should wear his right.
the advice is given, and let the man state that he does not need it.
Put that in your record.
Let your record that he said he does not need it. He does not need
So,
it.
that's all.
So those are the 2 points I'm making. That this Senate
Others
made
go
no mistake.
on. Any other issue? Senate Secretary, please read the 2 citations for the minister, 2 recent citations, 3 and the comment. Why he didn't appear?
October 26, 2022. Dear Mr. Minister, I present my compliments and by director of the Liberian Senate section, which apprises that your communication of excuse to the plenary of the Liberian Senate was rejected on grounds that there was no sufficient reason not to appear before the plenary of the Liberian Senate on Tuesday, October 25, 2022 at 12 noon. Regarding the troubling developments surrounding the shortage of the nation's staple food rice, coupled with specific provisions in the current budget in the amount of $11 million in general subsidy to imported supplies. In view thereof, this body will have me decided to appear before the plenary of the Liberian Senate on Tuesday, November 1, 2022 at 12 noon in the annex chamber of the Senate to show reasons why it should not be held in contempt of the Senate as described under Article 44 of the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria. Please note that the failure to appear will constitute a gross affront to this honorable body, which shall be punishable by reasonable sanctions as the Senate takes. Please accept, Mr. Minister, the renewed assurances of my highest consideration and esteem. And with that, sincerely. Secretary of the Senate.
Yes, so the one citation we sent you, and according to our records, we didn't get any representation from the Ministry of Finance.
So I think I responded to an earlier one and it was rejected, but whenever the Senate sends for me, I do not appear, it has to be for national purpose. And I will usually communicate with your office that I'm not able to attend. And normally, the Deputy Minister, someone for Fiscal Affairs, would make representation. I am aware that the Deputy Minister has made some representations here on the number of citations relative to the subsidy. But I'm not too clear on that particular one, why he wasn't present, why I also wasn't present. So I can't speak off the record here specifically why, but I was not able to come. And normally I designate that once the citation is served and I'm not able to come, then he should come. So as I said earlier, Senators, it may be 1 or 2 slips in the process, but I do not believe that it's contemptuous disregard for this one. Because I savour the opportunity to stand here before this august body and engage with you and inform you of the policy developments. I've done so separately. I always appreciate the moment to do so.
Let us know the minutes of why you didn't appear.
November 7, 2022. Dear Mr. Minister, I present my compliments about the narrative of the Liberian Senate in section apprising that concerns have been raised by members of the Senate regarding the status of the Roberts International Airport road project and all other roads in the country. In view of the foregoing, this body will have been decided to appear before the plenary of the Senate on Thursday, November 10, 2022 at 12 noon in the Senate chamber annex. It is important to note that your appearance and subsequent discussions on matters of concern. The 4 members of the Senate may be positioned from an informed position. Please be further informed that the directors of the Public Procurement Concessions Commission, the executive directors of the National Road Fund, and the Minister of Public Works and Rural Development have also been invited to the same matter and will be in attendance. Please accept the assurances from my highest considered representative, Karen Davis, Secretary of the Senate.
To Honorable Time and distinguished senators, to the best of my knowledge, I was preparing to come for this session, and I was made to understand that the session was not holding. The Minister of Public Works was out of the country, and I remember quite recently there was going to be a session. I was prepared to come, and then there was no such session. So I don't know whether it is this one, but I was prepared to come for a hearing on the RIA road, but then that session I was told was not going to hold.
And so the Minister of Finance is still before the Labyrinth Senate, answering to questions why should not be held in contempt. The full hearing has not commenced. For those of you following us, just a legislative insight. The hearing for which the Minister was being invited on several occasions have not started. So the contempt charge hearing is what is being held now. As you observe, the Minister is responding, though he did not come with his lawyer. He has waived that right as according to the protest, but I have started and raised that concern too as well, that in most cases you have witnesses either waiving their right or coming with their lawyers, but this was not done. But the protest clarified that the Minister waived that right, and so the contempt charge hearing is what going on. When it's actually dropped against the Minister, then the hearing will be done. So let's see what happens now.
On the issue of contempt and the 2 examples of citations sent me to appear, I will now open the floor. Should any senator have any question on the statement?
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, welcome. You just stated that in regards to the last citation, that you got the impression that that meeting was not going to be held or wasn't held. And this is a formal communication from the Senate. Was there anyone representing the Senate that informed you, or did you ask any question as to the validity as to whether the meeting was going to be held, and who did you ask?
Senator, I would say that the impression that I received, I was on my way to the hearing, but that the impression was that the hearing was not going to hold. And so I would say at the level, as the Minister of Finance, I do have discussions with senior leadership levels, both House and both Senate. And the point here is that I was about to come because I had to compile all the information related to this. But somehow the information was conveyed to me that the hearing may not like the whole. So that's the response that I have to that.
Mr. Minister, is your refusal that prompted the contempt charges, attempt to levy a contempt charge on you. So the gravity of the situation must be severe as far as members of the Senate is concerned. So I'm very curious to know, how was that communicated to you? Who gave you the impression that the Senate was not going to address the issue, thus prompting your refusal to come or to continue the journey to the building and ask either the secretary or the pro tem on the issue?
Senator, I received assurance from persons in authority that made me believe that the session was not going to hold because I had prepared for coming to the session. And I can't remember the date. I don't believe this is the session we're talking about. It's another one, but as far as I'm concerned, I was making my way. This is that the Minister of Public Works was out of the country, and I had contacted, all of the relevant stakeholders that are making an appearance to this hearing, and that I needed all the information. Minister of Finance were compiling the information, but then the impression was that this said. So I know the conscious effort that I put into coming on the very day, and then the impression was that the hearing will not hold. Now, why did I not formally seek a formal request? If that's an error on my part, I will apologize for that. But I'm telling you that I did ask the question, but the Minister of Public Works is not going to be here. And how are we going to have the hearing? And so, well, you have to come. So I said, okay, even though she's not here, I'm Minister of Finance, there are things I know about the road, so I will come. The contractor also was contacted to provide information in all the different pieces. The contractor was also making his way, and then we got the communication, and then we all just did. So why I didn't formally pursue or come myself, that's a question that I'll say. I apologize for that, but I'm conveying to you there was no disrespect to the Senate, because I did receive information that it appears that the session was not going to hold. And after the session didn't hold, I also didn't have any subsequent information that, it was a mistake, it should have still come, until I'm now being queried to be on the issue.
Minister, thank you for coming this time. I want to start with the issue of the hostile response of the minister. When we have a witness on the stand, as in this case, criminal case, the witness is asked to make a plea. When that witness makes a plea, that plea is either that he's guilty or that he's not guilty. And so the minister said from his introductory statement that he didn't believe that he should be held in contempt. He was pleading for the contempt charge. And he said, disobey you, I didn't respect you, and so you want to hold me in contempt. But no, I don't believe I should be held in contempt. There's nothing hostile about that. There's nothing hostile about that. I think that was the proper way to begin his response. Again, colleagues, let's be mindful that the man standing before us has the responsibility for the performance of our economy. Like I said here many times,
Honorable President, distinguished senators, I'm compelled to call the distinguished senator from Sando County to order that at this juncture is for us to pose question to the Minister of Finance and Natural Advancement, Mary Omalu.
Senator, our rules clearly state that senators have the right to expression. So your order is overruled. Senator, continue.
It's easy.
It's easy. I don't know where the people is coming from. So, I'll make a point that the performance of our economy rests on the shoulders of this gentleman. And because,
please order. Yeah, please. My order is to have my order is to have the pro tem and the presiding officers to have our point to stay in line. You ask us to deal specifically with the issue of the contempt. From what the minister said, what it would determine to hold him contempt, not going the other issues already. And he's not asking the minister all the issues the minister spoke about. He went in the economy already. That's what the discussion is for right now. That's my order.
So the chairman led the criminal, as we always know here.
Oh, you want to let the criminal?
No order is overruled.
We got criminal to live.
The pool get criminal.
ABC class. So I'm saying, So what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to raise is that because of the enormous responsibility on the shoulder of this minister, is always, and at all times, and most of the time, some of the time, out of it. So some of the times when our communications go to the ministry, like you said right there, it's not there. It's expected that the minister acting will respond to those communications and present himself or herself here. If that didn't happen, then of course it's something that we can look at kindly. That cannot be attributed to the minister disrespecting us because you're out of the country. This minister travels a lot. So the point I'm making is that we must look at all of the ramifications of this matter. Considering the responsibilities the minister has to this country to ensure that our economy performs, and that which compels him most of the time to be out of the country. So not every time we call him, he'll be here. If somebody who's supposed to be here is not here, then of course we think that the minister will disrespect him. It's not always like that. And I can say for certain that many times the minister has been here. He has always been here. And so most of the time we'll call him, he came here, except probably, like he said, when he was out of the country or perhaps some misunderstanding about whatever was happening here. So, Mr. President, I think the excuse provided by the minister for not coming to us, in my opinion, is valid, is cogent, is genuine, and I want to ask us to please temper justice with mercy to quash the contempt charges against the ministry.
That's the voice of Sando County Senator Constance Chair. Because some cheater making this point. Let's listen to Senator Nobikanga Lawrence.
I will never forget my home.
Distinguished colleagues, yesterday I reminded the Senate about the seriousness of exerting our oversight responsibility. A lot of us spoke, and that led to the coming of the finance minister here today. The fact that the minister has said that he was told or he was informed for the last time that he should appear here, that there wouldn't have been any hearing, and cannot disclose who said that is a more serious matter than what we are discussing. I remember 2014 as a senator, there was a similar situation where a witness came here and said to us that he was informed by a senator that he should not appear. That senator was suspended. In fact, I was on the committee that investigated that senator for doing that. That was the police director at that time. I'm not going to call him. Yes, Senator Johnson. Senator Prince Johnson was suspended for informing the police director or for telling him not to appear when he was cited for that hearing. I would think, or I would suggest that before we go forward, the Senate should demand that the Minister of Finance tell us who informed him not to come here, because we need to know if a senator did that, we have to take action, because that's a way of compromising our oversight responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, President. President, you know the phrase, but when it comes to the collective respect of this body, I think nothing should compromise that. I agree with other senators that the Minister of Finance and Development Planning has been, for lack of better choice of words, I've been very disrespectful to this party. And I agree with other senators and disagree with Senator Chair. I think there have been numerous occasions where the minister has been invited. He has failed to appear. The minister just told us clearly that he was invited and he was told by someone that the session wasn't holding. I mean, this government must give this minister the credit, one of the most educated. So to have received a formal citation from the Liberian Senate to appear, and without a counter or document canceling the appearance to say someone told him, I think it's being very disingenuous. So I think the Minister of Finance owed this body an apology on that note before we proceed further. On other matters, Mr. Minister, we've informed now that his salary is correct, but that's what I just been told. Oh, okay, all right. So on the issue of the contempt, I think the minister has been invited a lot of times. And for the minister to say that, from all the different agencies, I think we need to address that matter first. The Minister of Finance, the fact that there was no document sent to him. He can show us a letter that, based on the citation, the session is no longer holding, so don't confirm. Then we accept it. But other than that, in written communication from the Liberian Senate, or even a call to the pro tem, who is the administrative leader of the Senate, to say, well, the pro tem says the was holding, then people can accept that. But you are the authority, we agree with that. But other than that, those two, in written communication or conversation directly with the pro tem, I think the Minister of Finance, outside of an apology to this body, they contempt charges should remain in place until we receive a formal apology from the Minister of Finance why he failed to appear based on a citation from the Liberian Senate. Thank you.
Are there?
No.
Thank you, President. I'm trying to get down, please. Sometimes it's so troubling when citations are extended to officials of government on major issues that affect the country. And in the process, maybe knowingly or unknowingly, we drift into other concerns, leaving aside the most substantive issues. This is not to say that the issue of not showing or one subject is justified. But I sat here listening fairly prevalent. This minister, and I was looking at my notes, since he came to this office, this is his 7th appearance. 7th appearance here. And if you look at our record, and somehow inadvertently he did not show up at one afterwards. It deserves our hearing, but I want to join Senator Chie that we should look at the major issue for which we should be filing this meeting. No. I know very well. Can you please tell me?
All right, gentlemen.
Thank you. And presiding, like nobody here would deny the fact. Now, when we don't get paid on time, we blame somebody to it. Right. When the Rowell road contracts are not working, we blame somebody to it. When the judiciary doesn't get paid on time, we blame somebody to it. When payroll for internal affairs is late, we blame somebody to it. When our gasoline is late, we blame somebody to it. And in my mind, I think these are justifiable blames. But how does he get these things settled? 1 month in Washington, the IMF and the World Bank. After that, went to Barclays Bank in Britain. I recognize that on the doctrine of superior respondeat, the minister, yes, will take responsibility for his deputy not showing up when he's not here. Okay, that's a justifiable responsibility that you have to take. But I join Senator Chie to say that my other colleagues who are here, it is my appeal that we should proceed to the issues for which we have been yearning to see the minister, for him to give those clarifications that are beneficial to the country. Yes, our oversight is important, and let me not get misunderstood. Our oversight is important. Following presiding, there was a gentleman in Washington called David Stockman. And David Stockman was the director of the OMB, Office of Management and Budget. I said Washington. I'll say Europe. And a similar situation occurred
bucket and he missed the invitation and didn't show up. So just as we are trying to grill Minister Tue, I was just sitting here getting reminded. So, President, like Senator Chia said, I just want to be with all of us. Let us purge the minister of the charge. Huh? Yes, now when you're talking to each other, now you're disturbing me. Thank you. So, President, let us do like the Democrats did when David Simon was on a Republican government, Ronald Reagan. But when he went there, they saw the country first. And he told them he was sorry, and I believe Minister Tue has kindly said that if at any point in time a citation was sent and he did not pick it up as he should have, or was about to come, somebody out of the channel, the official channel told him that he wasn't holding and he did not show up, I joined him, Johnson, the chair, in agreeing that that's a legitimate concern. So we should push him out of the contempt and give you an opportunity to brief on those concerns we have about the economy, about the fiscal sanity of this country, and about the ordinary man in the street when he will get it paid before Christmas. All of those are very important to me and to Sumner County. Right. So I'll submit, President.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. No, so wait for
Thank you, President. You know, Senators, the reason why the minister is here, firstly, is to show the reason why he should not be held in contempt. The minister has stated to us that he received a citation and had an impression. This was a written official citation from the Liberian Senate, but he had an impression from somebody here who communicated with him that a meeting was not going to hold. That is not a justifiable excuse. That is reason even for more contempt charges. Article 44 says, for impeding the function of the legislature, he can be here in contempt. We were here waiting for this minister. He did not show up. When we raised this issue here on Tuesday, we stated that some of us are our own problems. Because when we try to do our work, we understand the enormity of function that he has. We understand, but that is the job he accepted to do. And we are the people's deputy. So we must speak and let people hear us. Our people are not taking pay. Our people are in jail. Let this man come and tell us why are these things happening. And then he refuses to come. And you say, you're not impeding our work. I think it is contemptuous and that the minister should not apologize because of an actual holiday. Let the man go to jail. That's what I would think. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother. Program, distinguished colleagues. The Minister of Finance must be held in contempt of this body. And the sanction should be, he should be sent to jail today, in common jail for 72 hours, based on these facts. This Minister of Finance would never dare to appear before the Supreme Court on contempt and say he couldn't come because one unnamed judicial official told him that it was okay for him not to come. And if we set an environment to happen to the body, no need for us to cite public officials there any longer. Minister of Finance should be held in contempt, sent to former jail for 72 hours today, because it is the same Minister of Finance, who have gone on the public radio to tell me, Senator Dino, that authorizing you to go for money, which was not true. And he said that authorization came from some higher up in the legislature. Today, the legislature has a brilliant image for taking responsibility of these ministers' unauthorized action. This minister will go to jail today on contempt and will have the spine today for 72 hours unless he tells us who to win. Because for the Minister of Finance to put us or attempt to bet us against one another, right now, some people may have the courage or some people may not have the courage. Everybody in the head thinking who he talked to. That person he talked to, the person he talked to, the person who advised him not to appear before plenary, that person must be made to face plenary wrath, because no one person has the authority to change or alter plenary decision. We all say plenary is the highest decision-making body in this place. Even when leadership of this body meets, it comes from plenary for approval. So when plenary takes an action for one person, two persons, and that person tell us while we were sitting down here waiting for this minister to say, oh, and you know, I thought when I come to our session, so I advised the minister, so that means the cause. For which reason, we, in righteous anger, day before yesterday, decided to send. Because if one of us, they cause the minister not respecting or he's not coming here, then that person owes us a well-contained punishment for putting us in righteous anger here to send for the minister the way we did. Lastly, this minister must go to jail today on contempt of this body for 72 hours common jail, because this minister is all too educated, as far as we know, to know that a decision taken by a body like the Senate, officially, formally communicated to him, will not be altered, should not be altered by the telephone call or advice or any senator, whether that's from Senator Dillon or any senator. So it is my view, it is my request that before we go into any other thing, we take 2-3 months here. We get gas here almost 6 months. The 7 take 2 months here. I'm sure not all will die, and then go to jail for 3 days. So when he comes out, he will not be delaying anything. He will not get respected by the again. I submit.
How many hours?
72 hours.
Including Saturday and Sunday?
200 hours. No, that was 72 hours.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, first, for the Minister of Finance to respond to or written communication from the Liberian Senate on the basis of telephone conversation, I think it is out of order. It is just out of order. The finance minister, without any reason to protect him, he's one of Liberia's finest educated brains. he cannot say that operating communication from the Liberian Senate will be ignored on the basis of telephone conversation with an unnamed person. I think because of the situation he's in now, he's trying to find an escape route. Secondly, Mr. Minister, I have a question for you. In your presentation, you said, according to your recollection, that you were brought here on the basis of threat of contempt, quote unquote, because several times you appeared before the Liberian Senate. I would want to know why you think that without justifiable reason, the Liberian Senate will threaten you with contempt. Let my question be hanking and I conclude, Honorable Protect and members of the Senate. The essence of the decision was the pressure we were under as Liberian Senate from the outside, so many financial issues, and the ultimate goal of putting the contempt charge on the minister was to appear for us to address financial issues in the country. And so, distinguished senator from Osorado and from the great county of River G, I understand the frustration you guys share, but let the end justify the means. We have brought him honor our jurisdiction. Let's suspend the issue of imprisonment, because I will want for the final minister to remain here and tell me what Rivers can get both county and development funds. Because leaving from here going to prison when you come back, how do I get here again to address it?
He will come here again. That's the one you will not be asking. Nobody will tell him to stay.
So, but that's my question. Why do you think that the Senate will have any justifiable reason to threaten you with contempt?
The Honorable August Senate summoned me to state why I should not be held in contempt. So, the Senate, many members of the Senate believe I disrespected the Senate. I knowingly, deliberately, consciously disregarded, disrespected the Senate. And so, I should be held in contempt for disrespecting. I, in my own person, consciously know I have the highest regard for the Senate. Knowing I have the regard for the Senate and believing I would never disrespect the Senate, if I said I disrespected the Senate, that would mean this, either the fear of the Senate is compelling me to lie. What I say to the Senate is that my not appearing to you is not out of a deliberate it's a fact that it did happen. And I apologize for not appearing. But if the senators are saying I should apologize for disrespecting, meaning I knowingly disrespected the Senate, then that's self-incrimination, because I consciously will never disregard the Senate. As I've said in my numerous appearances, I love to engage the senators. I love to come here and get tough questions. Senator Dillon has always said you are under oath, and I like to engage. All the senators here, irrespective of persuasion. So I cannot say, in relating a factual situation, that if we're describing that factual thing that happened in disregard, I appeal to the senators. I would never disregard. Now, I'm sorry for not coming, for my representatives not coming, my designated individuals not coming to the Senate, but I'm telling the senators that I will never knowingly, consciously, deliberately impede the functioning of the Senate and say I will not go there because, no. There are circumstances that led me not to come. Now, I'm sorry for that. I apologize for that. But if the senators are saying, I want you to apologize to tell us that you disrespect the Senate, I would say, under the threat of my life, the Senate will be saying, telling me to do something that I personally know I've never done to them. I will never disregard them. And so the apology is that I'm very sorry for the inconvenience and for the impeding that my not coming has afforded. But it was not conscious or deliberate, which is why you asked me, show us why you should not be held in contempt. And I'm appealing to the senators that I believe I did not deliberately, consciously impede your function, so I should not be held in contempt, even though my not coming impeded our function.
Okay, pro time, distinguished colleagues. The purpose of inviting the Minister of Finance is to have him explain to us issues, national issues that are of great concern to all of us in this country. Of course, for the minister to say he received a citation and about to come here, someone told him there will be no section. He was strictly in error. Nevertheless, let us temper justice with mercy, so that once he is here, he can explain to us some of those issues, burning issues that this country is facing, particularly with the pre-trial detainees in jail, and the judges, the magistrates are on strike right now because of non-payment of their salaries and due entitlements. So those issues, to me, in my own personal opinion, are more important than holding him in contempt. Because holding in contempt is our way of punishing people who disrespect us. But the national issue surpasses that of holding someone in contempt. So saying he is here, let us temper the justice of mercy and have him explain to us. God bless all of you.
Two points. First, just for the record, a reference was made to what we said regarding giving our colleague, the minister, due process. Our Constitution provides for that in Article 44 and in our rules, Article 61 regarding contempt hours. Due process is key, and all of our lawyers here and the Supreme Court has defined what constitutes due process. So when we say you have an option to be represented by your lawyer, it was for us to give you that due process. Now that I've read the Constitution and our rules, I just want to make that point. The next thing I'd like to say is about the critical question before us. This minister says that two things he says. He says that he was under the impression that we were not meeting, and that's why he did not come. But he went further. He says someone told him in authority. And when we say, tell us who the person is, he is pleading the fifth. I know that the journalists like to do that and say, I can't give my source.
but you can't do that before the Senate. You cannot do that before the Senate because we want to discipline a senator or an official of the Senate so important who may have told you. And it can either be a senator or the secretary of the Senate. So please tell us who told you that there will not be a sitting. And therefore, because you see, someone else is saying we should forgive. But first, before you forgive, I know before you forgive, you must first tell the truth and the full truth. Now, Mr. Minister.
So we don't want to say that we said for it.
There will be another argument.
Mr. Minister, in your position as Minister of Finance, it is one of the highest positions of integrity. You are the one who signed our bank notes for us to say this money is worth it is, the Minister of Finance, the Central Bank Governor. But if the Central Bank Governor, if the Minister of Finance is perceived not to be telling the truth, to the extent that ordinary people now make references to you in manners that do not make us happy. I am not happy when my Minister of Finance is referred to by any citizen that he is he's a consummate liar, he's a career liar, he's a certified liar. That is not a reference, correct reference for our Minister of Finance. Now when you come before us, Mr. Minister, when you come before us, please disabuse our minds that the things people say about you are not true. So you tell us the truth about who told you that this Senate was not meeting, for which you developed that impression. And the other thing about impression, Mr. Minister, you are the one we trust to go to major meetings, locally and internationally. I am afraid if you operate on impressions, do you go to IMF meeting on impression that the meeting will take place or not take place? Is that how you take your decisions regarding our economy? Is it the judiciary cannot get paid? Are you operating on impression, Mr. Minister? That is why that question is so critical to this discussion. It has nothing to do with forgiving and not forgiving. It's about your credibility. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, we read 2 letters here, and we recited the Minister. The Secretary of the Senate has brought to my attention 2 letters from the Minister of Finance in response to our citation, giving exclusive. The letters are here. The letters are here.
Thank you.
Square.
Senator, please, no noise. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I think we are at a defining moment and how we deal with the situation regarding the several absences of the Finance Minister on our request will determine how serious we are. The Finance Minister has dichotomized the 2 issues. He has delineated
the issue of consciously disrespecting the Senate by his several absences from the Senate's plenary upon the request of the Senate, from the issue of inadvertently not appearing because of information that was available to the effect. And except there is an in-depth investigation which might suggest that we further probe his sources and get to the bottom of it, we will not be able to establish definitively where the truth lies. But I want us to be mindful. We can achieve the truth. We don't necessarily have to put him to jail, to discipline and send messages to the other public officials who intend or who are tempted, who are tempted to do the same. When I was in the House, I've been around the legislative politics for a while. When I was in the House, or the current senator, Senator Delon, the then Senator Delon, made some comments about the House. In the opinion of the representatives, which included myself, the comments were disrespectful. They were disparaging. And in our opinion, those comments were intended to put the public against us, demean us, and make us look worthless. I'm probably the only one, if not one of the few, who told Speaker Tyler, do not invite Senator Delon to put him to jail. I said to Speaker Tyler, if we discharge our contempt power by putting him to jail, we will elevate him beyond control. I said it to Speaker Tyler. I said if we do so, we will take it from year to year. I will not be a part of it. When we decided we were going to jail, we indeed elevated him beyond control. And today he stood on that premise of going to jail to be senator. I know that there are people in my county, who were not forced to win election until they went to jail. Then they became popular when they came out of jail. But how did I mean people look in the house today, you see some people who didn't think they had the opportunity of being leaders in the public, for which they fled to America. When America sent them back here, the people they decided we elect people to go to the house. We've got to be mindful what kind of power we use and how we use the power, or else we will achieve the opposite effect.
What's the quality of the
We can do a lot. Protect. We can say, we don't believe you, Mr. Minister. Do I personally believe what the minister is saying? I don't believe it. Does that mean we should go into jail? I don't think so. Protect. In the absence of the law that is being proposed, that in my opinion, if the president signed, which I don't think he will sign, because ultimately it will indirectly control some of his powers, that if the public officials decide to disrespect us, we'll have a vote of no confidence, meaning they cannot serve. I don't think he's going to sign that law. His legal people will advise him not to. But we can say to the president, this finance minister of yours, or of the country, I should put it that way. I will not say that. Has over the period, by his action or inaction, disrespected the Senate. If the finance minister, and the finance minister is not an ordinary minister in the government, if we take an action that brings him to check, the rest of the other ministers will be in check. If we say to the president, you have the appointing power, you have the power to dismiss. But under the signature of your finance minister for how we feel about his actions or inaction, we will not entertain any document, including budget, under his signature. The next time you send for the finance minister, he can be in Russia. He will either be here or he will send somebody here. And there will be no minister subsequently who will take very lightly our invitation. And the fact that the ministers, people in leadership, may have misled him is possible. It is possible. It may not necessarily be senators. We can reduce ourselves to the level where if you call him, my assistant minister, my director, or the public works minister or someone to come, so she told me, we don't want to go into that. In my opinion, we shouldn't go into that. I think we have the strongest warnings to the minister that we are just a representation, an embodiment of the Liberian people. The senators here represent the country. If you disrespect them, you will not go free, even though we don't have appointing power. We can say we're not going to listen to anything. The president will be, he will have no choice but to remove the finance minister. We say there's nothing we're going to have to do with a public works minister, and if we stand, that's the spine. They're not putting them in jail. The public works minister will go because he will have to choose whether he will work with us or he will work with me. And he knows that we do not personally hate any of them. We will be reacting based on how they present themselves to us. So I feel strongly, if we adopt that approach, it will serve a message. It will serve a purpose. It will send serious warning to them. Because when we invite a public official, I guess many people say, oh man, every day people send for us. But the real thing is, if we do not have information from you, you control the executive branch of government. You implement. And if we don't have the information from you, we can act, we can exercise that function. So you have to see it through that lens. And the optics of it in the public will never be good if the public officials behave like that today. Senate or the House. But there is not a remedy. You saw me consulting Senator Sherman as the debate progressed. I was looking at what he could legally do if we were to take a decision. They said the decision should not be excessive. It doesn't define why it's excessive. Why he say, but this is the first time I'm appearing under the contempt, and so I'm going to get my lawyer. Then the judiciary said, no, you could have kept him for 3 hours, you could have kept him for 10 hours, or 72 hours is excessive, so reverse it. They will be your hero at our expense.
Order, Mr.
Order, President, recess.
Mr. Pro Tem, before us now is the issue of whether or not the witness should be held with contempt
And as to the punishment, it's a totally new debate. Because there are several punishments.
And why did you talk about this? We are discussing it in context.
Can we speak to the pro tem, please? Okay, Mr. Pro tem, let us first determine that the man is wrong and he should be punished. Then we will determine his punishment. So let's not debate the punishment now.
Thank you. Thank you. Go there. We are discussing the content. When you discuss the content, you discuss the ramification of content. You discuss it in totality. And I'm saying there are other ways we can deal with the disrespectful attitude. Other than that, you got to discuss it. You got to conceptualize what you would do as we are discussing it. And let's say
lawyer to argue with a judge.
Okay. I'm not arguing with you. I'm sorry. Sustain. So the bottom line is, procedurally, we needed to discuss as we discussed. The procedure is we discuss why you didn't show up. Why should we believe you were right or wrong for not showing up? But the substantive issue has yet to come to the floor. Which is the second part of it, the economic issue, the financial issue, the people not taking salary. What the Liberian people we represent, what they are more concerned about is how is coming before us will remedy the financial situation or the economic situation. That is the priority issue. We are dealing with the issue that borders on respect or disrespect as a procedural trying to deal with the major issue. And so let us be mindful that our action does not jeopardize the interests of the people we represent. And so in my opinion, I feel strongly, Mr. President, colleagues, that the issue of contempt will not necessarily remedy the situation. There are several other ways we can discipline.
Motion for extension.
There are several other ways we can discipline, not just the finance minister, but other people who are involved in acts that are disrespectful to this body or the House of Representatives. I feel strongly we need to exhaust this matter, go to the issue, and all public officials, including the finance minister, whose actions or inactions will amount to disrespect, will be handled in a way that the president will be forced to make a choice, and not just sending people to jail or putting them behind bars for 1 or 2 hours.
Pro tem police. Pro tem automatically has spoken, and now some said that the minister should go to jail. But Pro tem, I just want to bring this to the attention of our police. Understand, I agree, Minister of Finance is very educated person. But when it comes to legislative proceeding, sometimes it can be misled. So I just want to tell him that here in the legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate, plenary is a hard decision-making body. So when plenary right people come and appear before them, even the pro tem or the speaker, that will turn our decision. Pro tem, I agree. Yes, but you're not just going to your office and do it, but you tell us. Pro tem, I'm asking all my colleagues. Let us today, the titles, the nurses, the teachers, the security apparatus, all of them, they are looking up to the finance minister for them. I was right here on Tuesday.
I believe the main reason that they contempt came on the Minister of Finance during the right issue. He was invited. I felt that he was in America. I still to be corrected. And he feel a part to allow the Deputy Minister to come here and represent him. I think, as a my colleagues, let us go to the issue that will benefit the Liberian people, most especially their salary, are due for about 3 to 4 months. So the civil servant can get a pay and be able to take care of the children's school fees, and they start working towards the Christmas bonus or bonuses for the employees. So protest the trade police, the contempt aspect, I want for us to forgive me and let him understand that not one person that can tell minister, managing director, when plenary take a decision to say, look, we are sorry we now have this session. Because let your president, even if you don't have the time, try to communicate with the secretariat and they will inform plenary. Even at 1 minute to arrive and change your plan. The State Police that ask all of you to please allow the Finance Minister to go to the issue so we can know what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pro Tem, distinguished senators. I think we have listened to the minister and the issues at play. He has apologized that he had an impression, or somebody had informed him from the Senate. Based on that information, he decided to stay. So on account of that, he has apologized to the plenary of the Senate. I want to join other senators that have expressed that we have critical national issues. Yes. And then we have to take a decision on this contempt charge issue. And once that is put to rest, whether he's going to be punished by way of doing any other thing aside going to jail today, let us pass on that. Because it has been in the news. It has made the news all over. That the minister has challenged the Senate, he's now waiting to come, and we have spoken on it loud and clear. So for us not to act on that and say, look, let them proceed, I think we'll not be doing justice to ourselves. So whether the punishment is minimal as prescribed by our rules of the Constitution, let us pass on that and then set the basis for the real interaction that we have as a Senate that is before us. And that has to do with what the prosecutors are on strike for, what the civil servants are also attempting to do in other places. These are the main issues. So I want to join others that have expressed us clearly prescribing a minimum punishment for the contempt charge that is, on the minister's head. Let us pass on that as a Senate. Thank you.
If the minister goes to the minister gets stamped in your office that we all record get stamped for the minister to come. Go ahead.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, what we are discussing here is our collective respect. Yeah. Our integrity, our own dignity as a body. That's what we're talking here. And also to provide what we call deterrent. Most times, we talk here, whenever we call any minister, they don't come. We call any minister, we don't come. And sometimes our own behavior is making it for which we call minister, they don't respect. As soon as they appear, they don't even show remorse. We start begging. Exactly. It's very, very. As a body, how do we respect ourselves? I'm saying we have to respect ourselves before people respect us. So when we call people, let them show remorse to us and stop it. But as soon as they say, oh, Senator, why you didn't tell us before we read it? Yeah, it's unfair to us. It's not correct. The Minister of Finance, others are determining what should be the penalty. But I think it depends on how the minister first recognized the act of saying somebody told me it did not come. It was unfair to the party. Because you cannot overtaste it. So he needs to recognize that. And when he recognizes that, I don't care what will be the penalty. Whatever we decide. As others said, the whole country is looking at what they're sending. Yes. We are now before the entire world. When you go to the United States, people grow up to see what the Senate is doing today. So, to me, our colleagues on the other side need to know that the government contextually consider the legislation as the first branch of government. And when we call them, they should know the authority, part of the authority of the government is inviting it. TH. And our invitation is the invitation of the people of Liberia. Right. It's more than.
Thank you for saying I'm not text.
It's more than. It's more than you don't be selected by one person to be minister. We were elected by people. So our invitation is so weighted than the office is occupied. And our office, our duty cannot be discharged in the absence of our colleagues that are on the other side. That's why they said 3 equal but one elected body. Branches. So we cannot do our work in your absence. Unless you cooperate with us, unless you come, you will be impeding our work. So, Mr. Minister, you need to understand what we are talking is indeed the very work that you are doing. Yes, the minister cannot say because others are naming the things that the ministers are supposed to do. That is why that office is not occupied. When you have to see Minister Towe sitting down, doing it is because the duty is not to sit down in the desk for all day. He's out. But being out is what he's here for. So he needs to understand that indeed he was invited by the Honorable Senate and the act of saying that he was advised by somebody that the Senate was not going to have session was indeed not correct. You need to understand it, and I will also ask that what we did here in itself is it will provide deterrent to the minister.